There's a car in your head right now. You haven't driven it in years. Maybe you never owned it. Maybe you did own it and you let it go. And there's a part of you that's never forgiven yourself for that. It's not just a car. It never was. You know the smell. Old rubber, faint gasoline, a little bit of vinyl baking in summer heat. Maybe oil if the engine ran a little rich. That combination of scents that nobody has ever been able to package and sell. Because the second they try, it loses everything that made it real. New cars don't smell like that. New cars smell like a factory, like plastic wrap, like a promise that came off an assembly line. Old cars smell like time. And you're not chasing a smell. You know that. You're chasing what was attached to the smell. A version of a Saturday morning. A person who was alive when that car existed. A feeling of total freedom that you haven't quite been able to recreate since, no matter how much you've tried, and no matter how fast the new car goes. This is where it starts. Not in the engine bay, not in the horsepower figures. In memory, in the body, in something much older than logic. People don't understand. They'll tell you, get something reliable. They'll send you articles about resale value and safety ratings. They'll watch you crawl under a rusting chassis on a Saturday afternoon, and they'll shake their heads and say, why don't you just buy something new? And you'll smile, maybe not, and go right back under the car. Most people don't notice this part. The fact that you don't need them to understand. The fact that their confusion doesn't move you. That kind of resistance to social pressure is rare. Most people buy things because of what other people will think. You buy something old, broken, difficult, and you don't care what anyone thinks. That's not stubbornness. That's identity. The old car is already telling you something about who you are before you've turned a single wrench. It's filtering out the people who need things explained. It's selecting for depth, for patience, for the kind of person who believes something is worth the trouble, even when the trouble is enormous. Walk into a dealership today. Everything is designed. The lighting, the carpet, the way the salesman angles his body toward you. The car itself comes pre-optioned, pre-financed, pre-packaged. You can have it in 72 hours. You can have it today if you sign right now. And it will work perfectly every time for years. This is where everything starts to go wrong. Because somewhere in that perfection, in that guaranteed, warranted, software-updated perfection, something human gets removed. You don't learn the car. You don't negotiate with it. You don't develop a sixth sense for the slight vibration that means the left front wheel is about to need attention. You don't know it the way you know a person you've been through hard times with. The old car demands something from you. It asks for your attention, your time, your patience, your hands. And in exchange, it gives you something no new car ever can. It gives you a partnership. And you haven't had enough of those in your life, with people, with places, with things. Something that asks a lot of you and rewards you not with comfort, but with meaning. That's rare now. That's hard to find. And when you find it in a 30-year-old piece of machinery with a leaky gasket, you hold on to it. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Say it out loud. I don't want to be forgotten. None of us do. And in a world that moves this fast, where the car you bought 3 years ago is already obsolete, where entire years of your life vanish into a feed that nobody scrolls back through, the old car is a form of resistance. This is the moment that changes everything. The man who restores an old car is not performing a hobby, he is performing a refusal to let things disappear, a refusal to accept that something valuable has to become worthless just because time passed. A belief, held in the hands as much as in the mind, that the act of keeping something alive is itself meaningful. You are not restoring a car. You are restoring faith in the idea that things can last, that care can stop decay, that if you pay enough attention, if you show up consistently enough, you can hold something together against the pull of entropy that dismantles everything else. That car in the garage isn't just metal, it's your argument against impermanence. Notice something about the people who love old cars most. They are almost never people who had it easy. They're the people who learned, early, that things break, that systems fail, that the adults in the room don't always have answers, that sometimes you have to figure it out yourself, in the cold, with the wrong tools, and there's nobody coming to help you. Most people don't see this connection. The first time you fixed something mechanically with your own hands, something that was broken and then wasn't because of you, something permanent happened in your nervous system. A circuit closed. You got the data point that changed everything. I can fix things. Not just cars, things. And if you can fix things, then maybe you can fix situations. And if you can fix situations, then maybe you have more control over your life than you thought. And if you have control, real, earned, physical control, then the chaos outside can't touch you the way it touched you before. The old car is broken. You don't run from it. You walk toward it, because this is the thing you know how to do.
There's a specific kind of satisfaction you can't get from anything modern. You changed the oil yourself. You replaced the brake pads. You rebuilt the carburetor on a kitchen table at midnight, and you figured it out from a forum post written by a stranger in 2009 and a PDF service manual you found on a website that shouldn't still exist. And it worked. Nobody handed you that. You earned it. This is where everything starts to go wrong for people who don't understand you. They see a hobby. You experience something closer to sovereignty. The new car won't let you touch it. It has systems that lock you out, proprietary software, dealer-only diagnostics, a sealed hood that's practically a metaphor. It is telling you, plainly, you are not in control here. We are. The old car says something different. It says, everything that is wrong with me, you can find. Everything you find, you can understand. Everything you understand, you can fix. That is not just a mechanical relationship. That is a political one, a philosophical one. The old car is the last remaining object in your life where the complexity is navigable, where mastery is possible, where you are not a user, a subscriber, a customer. You are the engineer, and you will never give that up. Here's what the culture gets wrong. It thinks the old car is about nostalgia, about being stuck in the past, about men who can't move forward. It frames the whole thing as a deficiency, a failure to update, to adapt, to evolve. But watch what actually happens when you pull up in something old, original, well-maintained. People stop. Not because it's expensive, because it's real. Because it communicates something that a $90,000 crossover cannot communicate no matter how many options you check. This person has taste that isn't for sale. This person knows something. This person did not outsource their identity to a payment plan. The old car inverts the status game. In the normal game, newer is better. More features, more speed, more everything. You win by having the latest version of everything. But there is another game, a quieter one, played by people who understand that the rarest thing is not the newest thing. It's the enduring thing. The thing that was worth preserving when everyone else was moving on. You're not losing the status game. You're playing a different one, and you're winning. This is the level most people will skip past, because it's the one that's actually true. Think about the specific car, not just any old car, the car. The one you'd buy if money weren't a factor, the one that lives rent-free in your head, the one you search for on listings at 11 p.m. knowing you're not going to pull the trigger. Where does it go? What does it take you back to? This is where everything starts to go wrong. Because if you sit with it long enough, if you get honest, the car isn't really the car. The car is a container. It holds something you lost, a period of your life that felt clean, a relationship that existed before things got complicated, a version of yourself that hadn't made the mistakes yet, a person, maybe your father, your grandfather, a version of yourself at 17 who sat in that car and was happy in a way you haven't been able to replicate since. Grief doesn't always look like grief. Sometimes it looks like a project in the garage. Sometimes it looks like a very specific color of paint. Sometimes it looks like an unreasonable attachment to a vehicle that any accountant would call a liability. But what it actually is love, stored in the one place you could put it, in something that can't leave, can't die, can't be taken by time, as long as you keep working on it. You're not saving the car is saving you. Think about what happens when you spend 4 hours in the garage. The rest of the world goes quiet. The argument you had, the email you haven't answered, the thing that happened at work that you're still carrying, all of it fades. Not because you ran from it, but because your hands are occupied with something that requires your complete attention, something that is only solvable by presence. You can't fix an engine while you're distracted. The engine doesn't care about your anxiety. The engine is a meditation, and you found it before you ever heard that word. Most people don't notice this part. The old car is the only place where time moves differently, where an hour feels earned, where you can make a thing visibly better with your own effort and see the result immediately, not in a quarterly review, not in a vague sense of progress, but right there, grease on your hands, problem solved. Modern life is extraordinarily efficient at removing all of that. It has automated the satisfaction out of daily existence. It has made everything frictionless, and in doing so, it has made everything weightless. Nothing costs anything anymore. Nothing takes time. Nothing requires mastery. And you are a person who needs weight. You need to feel the resistance of a real thing. You need to know that what you built didn't come pre-assembled. The old car gives you that. It has always given you that. It is not a vehicle. It is an antidote. So here's the question nobody asks. Not why do you love old cars more than new ones? That part we've covered. The real question is, what are you actually asking for? When you scroll those listings, when you watch the restoration videos at midnight, when you stop and stare at something old and beautiful and held together on the side of the road, what is it that you're really looking for? You're looking for proof that age doesn't have to mean worthlessness. You're looking for something that was almost lost and wasn't, something that the world said had no value and was proven wrong by the one person who paid attention, something that required patience and skill and love and became more itself because of it, not less. And maybe on the level that you don't say out loud, you're also asking a question about yourself. Can I be restored? Can the things that are broken in me be worked on? Can time and effort and attention make something better, even something that's been neglected, misused, left in the rain? The old car says yes. It has always said yes. This is the moment that changes everything. The people who love old cars are not living in the past. They are making the most radical argument available to them in a world that throws everything away, that the right amount of care can make something last forever, that nothing worth keeping is ever really lost, that you, broken, imperfect, complicated as you are also worth the work. The right amount of care can make something last forever.